What's up, fellow lords of gaming? Let's jump into a deep dive on Hyperion. So right off the outset, I'm going to let you know that this is going to be the most expensive character in this Into the Phoenix update, mostly because if you are trying to level up his uniform, you are going to run into a bit of an issue. So if we go to the character, let's take a look at him really quickly. What I mean by that is Hyperion is an exclusive character. In order to level up and upgrade uniforms, you basically need bios. The only way to obtain bios for him is to get lucky inside the crafting shop, or to basically purchase the uniform exclusive. The other way that you're gonna have to do this is to purchase a uniform upgrade ticket, a mega uniform upgrade ticket, which is about $40 inside the cash shop, or to obtain it from one of the game modes in the game. So it's weird, because you're kind of up against that. The uniform options, however, let's discuss those. He basically has Thor, his mythic version. I was just trying to re-roll this option and it was not coming up for me at all, but I think something was wrong with the game. Matter of fact, let's check this out real quick. His custom gear, yeah, okay, so let's see if this actually works. I'm gonna quit, so we'll jump back into that. But basically, his uniform options, we're gonna take a look at those. And his Thor, he basically has mythic. We're gonna go with a dodge on this one. His Captain America Hydra Supreme, we're gonna try to roll HP on that one, yay. Then we go down to Proxima Midnight, Dark Obsidian armor, pretty decent one there. We're also gonna roll for HP on that as well. Recovery rate, I don't think we need recovery rate with him. And then we roll down. I think this uniform is going to piss off a lot of people, because I think a lot of people were pissed off with the uniform in the beginning. If you know, you know. But there's a tier to characters that Netmarble seems to give love, and characters like Blade seem to rank really low. He was the only character of the whole pool in that update not to get an Awakened class skill, which made no sense. Give him everybody was like, give him a T3 or something. He had just come off the being a central piece in the Avengers comics for the invasion, the Asgardian war. So it's, yeah. And then lastly, I think this uniform is going to piss off a lot of people as well, is Iceman Blue. And I'm still working on that character. We'll see what happens. I'm either going to change this to crit rate or critical damage. We'll take a look at the character here in a moment to see which one. But those are basically your uniform options. Next up, we basically have to look at the character's gear and see what he's got. He's got dodge options over here. So when you're building a character side Marvel Future Fight, you're basically looking at maxing out stats. So I can look at these stats right here and I can see the exceeded stats. I can see the, you know, which ones are there. So he's pretty low on his ignore defense, but he's well over on his cooldown duration. His critical rate is low, and his dodge is definitely in need. Or definitely not in need, excuse me. So I don't need this dodge in here at all, so I want to make up for that crit rate. The best place I'm going to be able to make up for that crit rate is here. So I'm going to change this option to crit rate. There we go. All right, so we've got crit rate. Now let's take a look at what his options are there. So now we're at about 63.99. So we have to make up for the ignore defense, we have to make up for the remaining crit rate, and we want to make up for the attack speed. So we make up for those in Uru, basically, for the way that we're going to probably end up building this character. That's these slots here. Then we look at his skills. We're going to tier 3 him, so we know that his 4th skill right here. I typically tier 3 all of these skills for any character that's inside there. It's just kind of, you might as well. You've invested that much into the character in the first place, so might as well. His type, whether you choose to enhance the enhancement type on a character or not, is completely up to you. If you're getting them up to tier 3, you might as well get around to working on them. I'm never paying for the enhancements, like these little enhancement packs right here, they come. I'm never really paying for those. Those do have the ability to drop inside the story mode, so you know, play that mode. If not, that's about as high as I can take him right now. Next up is we want to make sure that we're looking at his ISO 8. So for the purposes of this video, I'm going to change this. I want to change this to Hawkeye. Let's see if we can get it. Or we don't want Hawkeye, rather. I want to change it to Power of Angry Hulk. Let's see if we can get it. If we get lucky, then we get lucky. Hawkeye is pretty much the lesser of Power of Angry. It's pretty much Power of Angry Hulk, Overdrive, or Hawk, and then Hawkeye. You don't want to have Hawkeye if it's going to be a main character you're playing. So I'd probably end up re-rolling this to get Power of Angry Hulk as many times as I needed to. I'm not going to do that on video because it just doesn't make sense. I'm just trying to give you a general laydown of how I would build a character inside Marvel Future Fight. Let's try one more time. Not to mention, these rolls can get pretty expensive in terms of gold. You don't pay any crystals or any real currency for them. After you would do that, you'd basically level out all these. I'll do that off screen and we'll do that another time or whatever. Now we have these new things inside here. We can encrypt artifacts. So this is new and it's worked out in timeline survival. And I've done another video about this in impressions. I'm going to get into it more detailed at another point in time, especially once I collect more. But we'll see how those work out because I think they're going to be a big changer inside the game. Next up, we have the Obelisk. So you're basically looking at a character's skill effects, how they play, in order to try to determine how you're going to equip them. So for instance, with my man over here, we can look at some of his skills, for instance, and we can see that he's basically doing a lot of fire damage inside his skills across the board. So typically when you see an element that's that strongly represented inside a character, so like if it was Iceman, it'd be cold. If it was Luna Snow, it'd be cold. Those characters are typically geared more towards CTP of Judgment. If you had a character that had a really hard rotation to pull off, those characters would be CTP of Rage. CTP of Rage is like the one-all, the fix-all. In order to just make it so that way you could basically, you know, chain your attacks whenever you wanted to, and not have to worry about them. Meanwhile, you might look at a character like Captain America, and he does chain hit damage, and you would use the CTP of energy on him. So it really depends. A lot of people like to play around with which CTP is best on a character. If you want, one of the things that's always easiest to do is just look up the ranking of the character. It'll give you a good idea to kind of see like where people are with the character in terms of that. So like, let me see. Oops, I didn't mean to go preview skill. We'll X out of this. I think I clicked on the wrong thing anyways. Where is my man at? So if we were to go back in here, team here, and now we wanted to look at his ranking, for instance. So now I'm on Hyperion. If I wanted to, I can look at this list to kind of see how people have them built out. Okay, I don't know why the fuck they have a mighty CTP of authority on him, but okay. That's weird. You have to be careful with the rankings sometimes in here, because looking at some of the characters, people get really weird about things and they're just trying to basically get their character all the way up there. Like CTP of regeneration, like, are you just throwing it because it's a brilliant CTP? Like, it's weird sometimes when you look at those. Me, I think I'm gonna throw a CTP of judgment on him. I don't really have any other characters that I'm dying to throw a CTP of judgment on. I only have one left, so I'm gonna equip him with that one. And that's mostly because he's doing elemental damage to the characters, so I want to see him, you know, burn down some characters and decrease their resistances for them. So there you go. That's what I'm using for that, right? So that's basically, in a nutshell, how you build the character. The next thing that you would be looking at is trying to figure out how the character actually rotates in terms of its skill play. For that, we need to first level up this character all the way to 70 and get him to T3. So I have a potential level 6 advanced potential enhanced ticket. I'm going to use that. I'm not necessarily a fan of this character, but in terms of native T2s and or, you know, native T1 characters that would go up there, I would use this on him. Out of all the characters that I have right now that I could use this potential enhancement ticket on, so I'm going to use this on him. This basically allows me to skip the cost associated with get him up to 70. And that basically takes him all the way to 70. But there's more. In order to level up this character to T3, you have to actually improve the character gear slots. This costs you Titan component packs and Essence of Dimension along with black antimatter. these resources are hard to come by. So we're going to do a normal enhance. We'll relay enhance it all the way up to 25. Let's hope that we get lucky. 3. Ugh, I hate seeing that. 17, 13, 12. Oh my god. This game hates me. This game absolutely hates me. These two I find to usually be the ones that are the most expensive. Cost 8, 11, okay. 3, 18, 20. Fuck you. This game hates me. I swear to God it does. Like, I cannot keep enough of this, especially because you see these numbers. They are 7, okay. 4, that's good. 16, watch, it's gonna be 20 something. 14. 2, good, yay. That last one, that one will burn you something fierce. All right, so then we go inside here, and this is our last one that we have to go to. 10, nice. 13, nice. 11, nice. Be low. 3, yay, good. Nice. So I have enough to basically level him up, because now you want to T3 the character to get to advancement, and you're going to need these books, which are universal records. You're going to need CCF, not too difficult to get because he is a tier 1 character. It's only going to cost you 800 CCF. Then it's going to cost you 1,000 of these Essence Dimension and 500. I wish they would remove these from here, because you're already spending, either remove them from the character gear or remove them from here, because it's just like a lot. Plus 2,500 gold. So let's tier 3 my man. My man went Superman in space. So there you go. We basically got a T3 Hyperion, which is good. Share that with my alliance. Let them know that I'm rocking. And you can see the stat increases and stuff like that as well. So his physical attack increases not so much, but his energy attack is nearly 10,000 more points, 11,000 points inside there. His physical defense and his energy defense really does make a difference, and then his HP increases by about 32,000. That's gonna make him extremely tanky. So yeah, there we go with that. You do get some rewards for completing that character. I'm just not collecting them at the moment. So the last bit of thing that you need to look at is when we get inside here, which is equipping Uru, right? So there's a slot in here to basically amplify your Urus so that way you can go. I typically do them one at a time, and if I get 4, then I get 4. Maybe I'll try one more time, but it's gonna basically stay with the 4. So even if you fail to get the 5th slot, you're always gonna go back to that 4. Is basically there. But as long as I usually get 4, I'm pretty happy with that, and I'm not gonna fight it. I'd fight it if it's a character that I'm really invested on, but I'm not gonna fight it for a character that I'm like, I know I'll play Hyperion, he'll be a backup character for me, but he's not gonna be a main character that I play. Like, if I need that CTP of judgment from him, I'm gonna rip it off him, because more than likely he'll be used for his leadership, but I won't play him as much unless he just really hits that damn hard and he becomes a favorite of mine, and I don't really see the Squadron Supreme leader becoming a favorite of mine. So I will typically rotate these all the way through each of them. So I got the 4 there, and then we'll go here as well. Let's hope that we get a 4. Come on, give me a 4. Give me a 4. Give me a 4. There we go. All right. So now when we're equipping Uru, the thing that we want to be smart about is that we have Odin's Blessing. I would only suggest that you equip Odin's Blessing to characters that you are going to main and that you are favored like. So I have quite a bit of Odin's Blessings, but Hyperion is not one of my favorite characters that I really would like to equip Odin's Blessing to, so I would stick to anything other than that. I automatically am going to give, because I know he's energy attack based, I'm going to give him energy attack Uru on him regardless, 2 of each. You're allowed to equip 2 of the basic type Urus on him. Odin's blessings, you can only equip one per, so be mindful of that. This will, especially putting this inside his amplified stats, that's going to increase the amplification of these Uru as well. So this is the reason why you go for those amplified stats. What did I miss here? Oh, I didn't put it here. So you want to make sure you put in those stats inside there so you can see that, right? So now I know that that's going to inherently raise his energy attack. If we go back and look at his details, you'll be able to see that right there, reflective inside of there. You can see like his energy attack has gone up a little bit more than what it was before. And now we're basically looking at filling out the remainder of his skills. So you can see like his ignore defense went up, his reduced cooldown duration. The thing that's missing out on his critical rate is not there. We need to increase his critical rate. We need to increase his attack speed in order to boost those stats up. So how would you basically be looking at those? Critical rate is here. You'd basically be looking at his uniform options as well to see if you could make any room and adjustments for these. So for instance, if I was to go back to his dodge, so we go info details and we were to show exceeded stats, he's only at like 12.41% over. But the bad part is that looking at his uniform is not both of the dodge effects that's inside there. I'm pretty sure we can't change those to crit. Like you can go attack speed, but not really taking that off from there, and you can't really do much in terms of here either, so it's not really worth it there. You're basically looking at trying to get it from the crit damage, but you don't want to really take away from the crit damage either, so because we want that to be maxed out at all times as well. Now, some of his abilities, right, when you look at the character in and of itself, you'll be able to see that there's going to be rotational abilities that will give boost to those things, so you won't necessarily have to take them all the way up. So for instance, if I was looking at this character, we would look at his skills. It doesn't look like he's getting anything from any of these actually, so let's see. Basic attack, Sun God, all basic, all defense. He doesn't, oh, there we go. So like on his third skill right here, you can see that he's getting a critical rate bonus by 25%. So really, in order to max him out, you only need to be at 50%, because you'll be able to use his third skill pretty much every 7 seconds, which is decent enough to keep that crit rate bonus going the whole entire time. I typically still like to just have those stats maxed out. It's just my play style. It's just what I do. Like, you don't have to do that though, but I want you to be aware that that is something that you can do in order to mitigate that by literally just looking at the character benefits and go, you know what? I need some critical rate inside here. So for instance, one of the things I said I needed was attack speed inside here. We'll equip one of those on him. Let's see what his details we're looking at. So he's still not maxed out. I think it's 130 for the max on attack speed, but we don't have any other attack speed Uru to equip to him. So let's go back inside his gear and let's see about equipping some critical rate Uru. Holy crap. Okay, so I don't think I have any critical rate Uru. Yeah, I don't. Wow, I don't like equipping 5-star Urus onto characters, especially ones that I T3, so I'm not going to equip them. It just doesn't make sense for me to do that. And if I'm looking at characters inside here, like for instance, I could equip this energy attack and critical rate on him. It's just hard to make that commitment with Odin's blessing. So at this point, I'd probably just leave the character alone till I got some critical rate Uru, because it's not that important to me. Like I said, the character is not going to necessarily suffer from it, because if we go back inside his details, we can see that he's at 59.92% for his critical rate. We're pretty good. Literally, we're pretty good on his stats there, because the 25% from his third skill will be enough to cap us out. So think about it in that terms, right? So you can equip other things on him once those stats are starting to round out. So for instance, typically what I'll do is I'll look at the character and I'll see what other things that I could make. Like if he had a recovery stat, then I might come in here and do recovery on him, but typically I'll go with like HP. So like HP Urus, Jesus. Oh, you know why I don't have these? Jesus Christ, I just forgot. I did the Odin's Blessing event and I was running through a bunch of Odin's Blessings. So you can equip HPs on him so that way that will boost up his stats. I'm going to have to play around with those because like I said, I just ran out of all of these and he's not necessarily a character that I will play every day. But that gives you an idea is how you're trying to mitigate those stats. You go with the stuff that you need in order to round the character stats out in here. Basically attack speed, crit rate, crit damage, well, crit rate, crit damage, dodge, ignore defense, and reduce cooldown. You want to make sure that you max those out any way possible if you can, and then you start filling out stats like attack speed, HP, and recovery rate. Attack speed is going to basically make it so that way those animations play out quicker, and then HP is always good for any character because it raises up their abilities, and recovery rate is something that you would like to add for any character that has like a native HP recovery in it. So like Wolverine, for instance, would be a perfect example. Like he has one that basically boosts him all the way up to like, you know, 100% if he's down at a certain level, so you don't necessarily need recovery rate on him. But if you had a character that has small, you would build on that recovery rate inside there. The artifact would affect your instinct stats, so if you have an artifact, go ahead, go with that there, and that would basically be it for your character. Like, so the event, I don't really care. I'm at 847 for the event. To be honest with you, I don't expect to stay at 847, and I don't really care about what the event, but you basically see from doing that, I'd probably end up in like this area or something like that. So I end up with like 80 or 100 crystals. I'll end up, you know, parsing him out. If I wanted to, I could throw Odin's Blessing on him just so that way I could, for the sake of the event, but that's not me and that's not how I play. So just so you guys are aware about that. His skills are up, so we're good there. We've got his rank up. We would need to fill out his total right here so that way we can get this back because his set bonus is, ugh, I didn't realize that. Let's roll back inside here. For some reason, I usually have the best odds of getting this sometime in the morning when I roll for it. I never have good odds at getting it in the evening. Like almost never comes in the evening. I think it just rolled right past a freaking let me see something. I think you could change it so that way it's power, angry Hulk, or overdrive. Let's see, because I think we just ran past an overdrive. So it just ran past another Hulk's eyes when it ran past. Sucks. This can get pretty expensive, so that's why, like, typically on days when they have the events where it's legitimately just you get the half off reduction, I'll roll through a few characters that I know are T3 or that I plan on playing. I never expected them to actually level up Hyperion at all in any shape, form, or regard. Like, I really did. Like, this is a complete surprise to me to see him getting this T3 and an update in a Phoenix Force uniform. But it kind of makes sense because we do have the Eternals coming out next month, and they probably are segueing into that. Yeah, so it's something that we'll figure out. The last thing that you want to do is you want to take a look at the skills, and you want to be able to preview the character for what it is. We'll get into some gameplay with him for another time, but I basically work out the rotation for you guys. Basically, look at, I don't know why I jumped back in here so quickly. You're looking at the skills to try to see how the rotation. 1 and 2 skills usually don't really make a difference because they're not really doing anything. So like his 1 skill is not really doing anything. His 2 skill is causing paralysis, so there is going to be some intermittent use of his 2 skill. Kind of depends on what you're going to use it for though. Paralysis ignores immunity, so it can be used in World Boss, but it's only a second. His 3rd skill though, we can see that it opens and it gives a good HP recovery, so we want to make sure that we're using that. And it gives increase all basic attack and all defense by 20, and then that's what's giving us our crit rate. So we're always going to be wanting to use that so that way our crit rate is up. And you can see that it says it has a 14-second cooldown, but because of my cooldown reduction, it basically works out to 7 seconds. So every seconds I can work this in. So you're probably going to want to open up with this skill so that way the crit rate has the ability to take off. His 4th skill is giving him immune damage, but it's also increasing all basic attacks by 30%, all defenses by 10%, and all speeds by 1%. So like you're starting to look at this and be like, hey, I can start rolling into this. You can also see it as decreasing all basic defenses by about 50%. His 5th skill, meanwhile, is giving you, wait, that was 50% on that one, yeah, and then he's getting 50% on this one for his fire resistance. So you can see 20 fire resistance, all increases all attack, and this one is causing the accumulation. So pay attention to this stat when you see it, because it says accumulates 150% of true damage regardless of defense and dodge rate stats. The total true damage accumulated cannot exceed 15%. So you want to open up with that inside the skill before you roll into other skills. That's just the way it is. Next, we can see that his Meteor Strike skill is doing a decrease skill, and it's basically getting 60%. And then a 100% chance of immunity and increasing basic damage by 50%. So I have an idea of the way this is going to work. You're probably looking at this in terms of opening up with 3, rolling into 5 to begin the accumulation, and then rolling into 4. So it'd be 3, 5, 4. So that way you can roll the skills. Yeah, 3, 5, 4, and then it's probably going to be off when your T3 is up. It'll be 3, 5, 6. Yeah, probably 3, 5, 6, and then 4. Yeah, 3, 5, 6, and then 4. So let's try that out inside the skill preview, so that way we can see that. Ooh, I messed up there. Team, and there we go. Skill preview skill. So this is my idea of the way it's probably gonna work, and it basically be 3, you're looking for when that effect actually takes effect, so that way you know when you can cancel it, right? So some of the skills you can just cancel right away. 3, 5 into 4. There you go. So the deal is that you want to look at when the buffs are being applied. So for instance, I can see the buff right there. You see it right there, increases all basic attacks right there. I'm getting it pretty much right away on his 5th skill. Oh, no, there it goes. So it's about, what was that? 1, 2, let's try that again. Let's count that. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's pretty much right when he unleashes his furl on there. So 1, 2, and then right there. So it's about a 2-second cooldown. So you're gonna delay for about those 2 seconds. So it's basically 3, and then into 5, 1, 2, and then roll into 4. There you go. And then we probably be 3, boom, roll into 5 for 1, 2, and then 6, 1, 2. He starts this and then cancel right into 4. I have to play around with the delays and stuff like that, but that's basically what you're trying to figure out as a player. So you can probably, like, if I'm going to be honest with you, you could probably jump into like a beast mode video. You can jump into like a Cynic Alex video. You could jump into Borgo Nation, and you can see these skills. But if you want to learn how to do it yourself, so that way you understand, this is what you're looking for. Is when you're inside the skill window, you're basically looking to see when you can cancel a skill and when the buffs and effects take effect. So like if I rolled into my 3 skill, for instance, I can see he immediately gets the buffs as soon as he launches the skill. That means I can auto cancel that at any point, 3. And then I can roll into my 5. I want that buff right there, so I gotta wait for it to come, right? Because you see right there, if I didn't wait that 2 seconds, I don't get it. So let's see for sure, right? So if I go right here, 5, and oh, you bastard. Let's see now. So if I go right away from 5 to 4, you notice it doesn't even let me, it doesn't even trigger the 5th skill if I don't let it play out. So if you notice, I didn't wait that 2 seconds, and so you see the buff never appears, right? So watch this again. I go here, and then I automatically cancel into 4, but you see the buff never happens. We never get the buff from that ability. But if I let it play out that 1, 2 seconds and then roll, now I have the buff inside here. You see it? Increase all basic attack, right? So the accumulation is now happening, right? So you basically have to wait that 2 seconds in order for this to begin. So you're going 3 right into 5, 1 2 seconds, and then 4, and now let's do the damage. Or you're gonna go 3 1 2 6, and then you have to find out when the 6 actually cancels, so that way you can roll into 4, or where you can cancel out in the 6. That's the way you're playing the game. It's like, I know it's weird because if you play Marvel Future Revolution, the weird part is you can't attack cancel and out of skills. You gotta let skill animations play through completely. But you can see how that skill takes effect. Like if I don't wait, delay that cancel by at least 2 seconds, then I'm not getting that buff. It's just not appearing. So you can't instant cancel out of 5. Like watch that again. So I'll show you it again. There you go. You had the 2 seconds, so I was able to cancel, right? And I got the buff. But if I try to cancel immediately from 5 into 4, it's not going to happen. 5 and then 4. And I get no buff. So let the skill play out. 5, 1, 2, and then 4. It's like 1.5 seconds pretty much. Whereas the 6, we want to see when the skill actually takes effect inside here. So we're waiting. You can see the buffs come and they are right in the beginning. And then he actually levels down, and those buffs don't happen till he lands. So when you're looking at the skill in terms of rotating out of the 6 skill, you're pretty much going to have to wait for that buff to actually happen. So you might go 3, 5, and then 4. Jeez, you can't cancel after a certain point with that skill. So 3, 5, 4. Boom. Here we go. And then we go 3, 5, 6. Boom, and then into 4. 3, 5, 4. So we're gonna have to play around with that, and we'll have to end up, so what you're doing inside here in this game mode is you're looking at that, and then what you're basically doing is comparing that, going inside like a game mode like World Boss Ultimate, and you're going to try that against a character like Null or Mephisto and see how the rotation works. And then you get to play around with the rotation some more. There's going to be other skills inside here, and I just want to point it out for you. I don't really expect him to be a PvP character, but you're looking at certain skills as well to see when those effects take effect. So for instance, like with his 2 skill, I can see he's basically got a immunity invincibility inside here. His 1 skill has a long invincibility on there. His 5 skill has nothing, right? Not that you expect it to, because it's dealing with damage accumulation inside there. His 4 skill, same thing. It doesn't have, well, there it goes. At the end, it has it. So you don't want to be like, hey, I can't take damage on it. His 6 skill, okay, he has immunity on his 6th skill. So you're basically gonna have to build up the accumulation on his 5th skill. So you might want to hang around inside that skill a little bit long, and that might be the reason why the skill effect, the buffs don't appear to like maybe that like 1.5, 2 seconds later, so that way you're inside there and taking damage, and then you can roll into 4. I'm interested to see how he plays. We're gonna do another video probably later, and we'll do it to test specifically like against Null and Mephisto. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe, and until next time, if there's anything that you guys want to learn that I've learned from these videos, I don't want to distract you from my channel and have you go somewhere else, but Cynic Alex and Beast Mode Gaming and Forgo Nation have been some of my favorite. Moonbro is one of the creators that I've started watching recently. I like his videos for damage comparisons sakes, like uniform comparisons, but the other 3 guys are, you know, they've been guys I've been watching from the beginning to learn how to play this game. And I feel like I'm fairly, you know, I'm fairly in the mix in terms of like where my level is and so forth like that. So I hope you guys enjoy the content, but I'm gonna have to do some work on this character, and you'll see how he plays against Mephisto and Null in the next video. Until next time, guys, peace.